Hi, I'm Jeff Halevy. From cellulite to muffin tops, everyone's got a fitness flaw they want to fix. It's possible, but it's not going to happen overnight. My no-fail formula calls for equal parts exercise, nutrition, and a can-do attitude. Fitness flaws fixed today on Workout From Within. We're putting the fun back in fitness, not to your chest, but more to your hip area. There you go. That's it. Let's go. Come on. You got to live it. Welcome back. We're on a mission to fix those fitness flaws once and for all. If I had $1 for every time a client came into my gym looking for a way to say so long cellulite, well, I'd be a very rich man. Here to help me take down this incredibly common complaint is Grace. Welcome, Grace.
Hi.
So Grace, you look incredibly fit to me, and this is actually a common scenario. People who are very fit looking, but still complain of cellulite. So talk to me.
Well, I actually have a problem.
Okay.
I won't wear shorts,
Okay.
or I wear longer shorts to cover up the fact that I have cellulite. And I want you to tell me how to get rid of it.
I will. So first, it's important to understand cellulite to begin with. And unfortunately, and both fortunately, you can take the blame off of yourself, but you're going to look at your mom and your grandma for the reason that you have cellulite, because a large component of it is genetics. Cellulite is hereditary. So your genes play a large role in whether you're going to develop it or not. But there are other factors that will influence to what extent you have it. So number one is water retention. So when your body retains water, and it's usually due to poor diet that you have this type of water retention, it becomes gelatinous. And it actually, you can't fully get rid of cellulite, but what it does is it enhances the appearance of it, and you don't want to enhance the appearance of it, so it can make things tricky. Now, the other thing is hormonal levels will greatly influence it as well. So menstrual cycles and other components will affect the appearance of cellulite too. The third one is stress, and you're going to notice a common pattern in all of these. They all kind of come back to really hormonal issues, because stress is a hormonal issue, inflammation is a hormonal issue, and obviously when I talk about menstrual cycles and female hormones, those are hormonal issues as well. Now, setting those aside, because those we can't tackle on the gym floor, I will show you exercises that will at least help you target the areas that you talked about. So it won't eliminate the cellulite, because the first person to invent that magic pill is going to be a millionaire. But what it will do is help build muscle in that area. So as you improve diet, as you bring stress levels down, as you get rid of the inflammation, you'll have some nice muscles to show in those areas.
Okay.
Sound like a game plan?
Sounds like a game plan.
Cool. Now, the important thing is this. Most women don't build enough muscle to begin with, all right? And the way to build more muscle is to lift heavier weights. You may do body weight squats in the gym. You may be, you look like you're pretty athletic.
I work out a lot.
Okay, so you work out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ratchet up your intensity level and your effort level, okay?
Okay.
First way we're going to do that is with a back squat. So I'm going to invite you to come on over here and just have a seat. All right? There's more to the exercise, by the way. It's not just having a seat, okay?
Okay.
So you'll notice that there's a bar that's hooked up with cables behind you. We're going to be using that. Very good. That's actually exactly where we're going to. Now, what I'd like you to do is we've rigged this up. I don't want you to stand just yet. I'm going to separate your feet just a little wider. You can stay forward if you're more comfortable. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just want your feet a little wider and toes out slightly, okay?
Okay.
Now, from here, you always want to make sure, now I'm going to hold the back of the chair. If you were to do this at home, make sure somebody holds the chair for you, or at least, add some type of weight to the back so that the chair doesn't come flying with you. From here, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and give me a good squat. Go ahead and stand. That's it. Now, you don't want to bend over too much when you squat. So now you're going to let the hips come back down. I call that a squat morning, because it's a combination of a good morning and a squat. So one more time, sit down, and don't get back up yet. From here, I want you to go up in a straight line, keeping the chest. Yeah, exactly. From there, it's a little more difficult, okay?
Oh, yeah,
so what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to leverage the muscles of the lower back. I really want to keep this about the glutes and legs. So go ahead and move the hips back down. That's it. And now hips in. There you go. That's a much better squat, all right? So let's go ahead and bring it back down, and I'll take the bar away for you. So that, obviously, I'm sure you felt right away, targeting your glutes, your legs, all the areas we want to work. Now, up next, we're going to use a Swiss ball for some more exercises that target that area. So come on down.
Okay.
I'm going to have you stand on this side, and I'd like you to set up with your back on the ball, okay? So you're gonna set up there. You can start from a seated position and then roll yourself out. Yep.
Like this?
Yep, I'd go just a little further down. This is called a supine hip extension back on ball, or she-bob.
She-bob.
All right, so from here, what you're going to do is you're gonna crease your hips and let them sink down. Keep going, let them go, 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 go. Down, 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 down. And now come up by squeezing. You can fold your hands across your chest. Yep, just like that. Go ahead and bring it down. Good, and back up. Now you'll feel this right away in the hamstrings and the glutes.
I do.
Okay, this is an excellent exercise for what you were referring to, which is part of your posterior chain, your glutes, your hamstrings, and even your lower back. So let's keep working. And while you continue doing a good job there, I'm going to grab a little something that's going to make your life a little harder. So hold the top for a second, hold on to the dumbbell. Now keep this on your hips.
Okay.
Now go ahead and lower and come back up. A little more difficult now, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a 25-pound dumbbell that we're using.
Now, when I come up, do I tighten?
Yes, so you want to lock out everything. And if that's ever uncomfortable for you, having the dumbbell on your hips, you can always put a towel underneath just to keep you a little more comfortable, okay? I'm going to go ahead and grab that when you come up to the top. Very good. Now, I want you to roll back so that you're sitting on the Swiss ball just like that. All right. Now, our next exercise, once again, we're going to be targeting your glutes, your hamstrings, and your lower back. So all those same areas. This time, you're going to turn around and face me. Okay, your chest is going to be on the ball.
Chest is on the ball. Okay.
All right, now I'm going to hold you for support. And what I'd like you to do is pretend like you're Superman. So from here, you're going to lift your legs up off the ground and tighten up. There you go. Good. Let's do that again. There you go. Now, you can hold on to anything in the house. Keep going. Let's just do 1 or 2 more reps. That's it. Try to hold the top for a second. 1, 2, and down. Good. Let's move it back up. So you can really hold on to anything when you're doing this exercise, you know, at home, whether it's the end of a sofa, anything will really work, okay?
Okay.
Now, you're gonna stick around because coming up next, move along a muffin top time, and later, we're gonna get food label savvy. Welcome back. Today, we're putting fitness flaws in their place. And next on the chopping block is one I'm sure many of you, both men and women, can relate to. The muffin top. That problematic area where your midsection puffs up like a muffin and spills over the side of your pants. Here to help me put a wrap on it is Grace. Welcome back, Grace. So,
Hi, Jeff.
You look like you're in great shape, but you said something about a muffin top.
When I wear those pants that are a little too tight on me, I definitely have a little extra here.
A little bit of extra. So I think this is one of those areas, you know, I actually have a gym that skews heavily female, okay? And this is a question that I get asked a lot of the time. And the first thing I say is, I'm not your stylist. So if you're stuffing yourself into pants that, like, you know, are just not working, that's, you know, number one is I suggest wearing something different because everybody's going to have a little bit of skin, a little bit of something, okay? Now, secondly, if we're talking about actually getting rid of any of the extra flab that someone might have in their midsection, there are a few things to keep in mind. Number one is six-pack abs are made in the kitchen, not on the gym floor. So it all comes back to diet. My suggestion for the muffin top is skip the muffin. We're talking about refined carbohydrates. Okay? Healthy carbohydrates you can eat in abundance, but sugars, refined products, stuff that I like to say comes in a box, a bag, or is bread-like, the 3 Bs, you want to stay away from because those will lead to abdominal adiposity or the muffin top, as it's commonly referred to. Okay? Now, when it comes to the exercise component, everybody turns to crunches. Crunches are the worst exercise in the world, and I'll show you why in just a second. Okay? When you do a crunch, it's the equivalent of me doing this. Right? Isn't that a crunch? Or this?
Okay.
It's a very limited range of motion, and it doesn't work the entire range of motion of your abdominal muscles. You would never do a curl like that, right?
No.
So I'm going to show you some exercises that are much better replacements for the crunch instead. Now, number one is all of the types of planks. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead, come down, head over here, feet over there. And I know that you've got a really nice plank, so that's a perfect plank. So right here we're working the anterior chain of the front of your body, okay? And what we also want to do is work your core 3-dimensionally. So now from here we can switch to a side plank. So I'm going to have you on your left elbow facing that way, okay? and post up. And most important on a side plank, and I know that you can do the even harder version, there we go, is that we make sure that we have the elbow, the hip, the knee, and the ankle all aligned, and we're not letting the hips sag. We want to post up nice and clean just like that. Now, the third one is a reverse plank. So for this, I'm going to have you flip over, and this is going to work your backside. So we work the front, we work the side, now we're going to work the back. That's it, feet nice and straight. And we want to make sure that we stay tight here. That's very important. So now we're getting the lower back, the glutes, the hamstring, okay? Yes. Now, I'm going to ask you to just take a seat for a moment, okay? And stay right there because I'm going to show you a very cool exercise coming up next. This is called a Yanda, J-A-N-D-A, a Yanda sit-up, and it is brutal. And you'll see why in just a moment. What I want you to do is keep this tucked between your calves and your glutes, okay? So the entire time, you're going to be squeezing as hard as you can. That seems weird. Like, why would I do that for a sit-up? It's bizarre. You're going to find out why in just a second. Go ahead and lay down, okay, just like that. Squeeze as hard as you can, and now do whatever you can without using momentum to try and sit up.
I can't.
Okay, you even used a little bit. You cheated just a little bit. It's impossible, okay, for most people until you build up the requisite strength. And I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of why, but long story short is when you're activating muscles on the backside over here, you're shutting down assisting muscles in the front. So what this will really do is isolate the abdominals even more so, okay?
So there's no hip flexor being used.
Correct. The hips are not, it's even, that's part of the equation. It's even a little more complex than that, but that's correct. It's something called irradiation where other muscles get involved in the activity. Now, the way that you can build up to doing this, now this can be tied around the doorknob if you don't have somebody there to help you. What you're going to do is use as much assistance as you need to sit up. So you're going to come all the way up. Remember to squeeze. That's it. Okay, now that you're at the top, what I want you to do is without the rope, just gently lower yourself. Now, if you don't feel yourself kind of shaking, that means you're not squeezing hard enough down here. So make sure that that's not slipping. I'm watching you on the next rep, all right? So let's go ahead and do one more. You're going to come up. That's it. Okay, now get up to the top. Yeah, this is brutal. And slowly down, okay? It's probably one of the most difficult sit-ups that you've ever done and that anybody will ever do. It is brutal when you do it correctly, okay? Now, up next is one that I see people getting wrong all the time at the gym, and it's a great exercise. I'm going to have you stay right there. This is going to specifically target the lower abdominals. What's interesting about abdominal muscles is that they are segmentally innervated, which means that they get nerve impulses to different sections. So you can work your upper abdominals versus your lower abdominals. Lower abdominal function is crucial to everybody, especially people who are active in sports because they need hip stability, okay? This next exercise, I'm going to have you start the way you probably have done it before. You're just going to hold on to my ankles. I'm a nice big 200-pound weight. You're going to put your feet all the way out in a straight line. I want you to go heel to bottom, stop there, and then curl in knee to face. Just like that, and come all the way back out. Good. Now what I'm going to have you do is straighten out all the way, okay? And I'm going to have you just do that without holding on to anything. All right? So the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and curl in, stop, and now go ahead and trunk curl.
That's as much as I can get.
Okay, it's pretty tough to do. I'm going to give you a 25-pound dumbbell now to hold on to. Go all the way out, heels to bottom, and curl it in. And even there, it's pretty tough, okay? So a lot of people use momentum to cheat their way through it. These are the ways that you're going to really be able to target the muscles of your core, though. Coming up next, the 411 on food labels. Thanks so much. You did really, really well. Today we're focused on fitness flaws, and part of fixing them is eating right. If you feel like you need a translator when it comes to reading food labels, you're not alone. Here to help you become a savvier and slimmer shopper is nutritionist Laura Sapula.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. So how can I better read food labels? Because they are very confusing.
The first thing is just to read the label. Most people forget that. They just look at the brand name and they think, oh, this is healthy.
Right.
But you really want to look at the label, compare the label, and then just choose the better of the two.
Just because it says it's healthy for you doesn't mean it is.
Exactly.
So what are some of the things that we need to look for?
So first we want to look for sodium, especially on something like soup or a frozen entree. Sodium could be as high as 700 milligrams for 1 can of soup.
Yikes.
All right, and in that 1 can of soup, there's 2 servings. So again, you want to compare 1 sodium to the next sodium, and the low sodium only has 50 milligrams of sodium.
Wow.
So that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
We only need 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day. So if you ate this whole soup, you'd be halfway there.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, sodium is obviously essential. Our bodies can't work without it, but at the same time, it's also something we want to avoid because of blood pressure, you know, and other health issues.
Right. We just want to limit it.
Now, the big S, sugar. What do we need to know about sugar?
The confusing thing about sugar is that it's also a carbohydrate. So people just look at the label for sugar.
Right.
You need to look at total carbs. So if you're comparing 2 cereal labels, look at the carbohydrate, see which one is higher and which is lower. It could be the same cereal and one just has something added to it, like a little bit of sugar, and it could be 10 to 20 grams higher in carb.
I've noticed that on labels. Just those, it's a subtle differences. It's like the devil's in the details. This is one of those things where you need to take your time if you're serious about the way you eat.
Right.
One of the other things that comes up very often is we hear about fiber all the time. It's in, you know, it's in headlines, you know, you see it on morning shows, and every doctor recommends it. What is dietary fiber? Why do we need it? And how does that translate to the food label?
Dietary fiber helps us to stay full. Also, we don't digest all of the fiber, so therefore, maybe you're getting a little bit less calorie, a little bit less carb, so it's great for somebody with insulin resistance or diabetes.
So, of course, there's soluble fiber, insoluble fiber.
Right. Insoluble fiber, we can't digest, so it really just helps us get the food through us more quickly.
What are we looking for on the food label?
We want to have higher fiber, but natural fiber, so you don't want to add it in. So typically 3 to 10 grams of fiber per serving, especially on a cereal. But on something like bread, here we have white bread and whole wheat bread. So there you want to find a whole wheat bread, but look for about 3 grams of fiber per slice. If it's 10 grams of fiber per slice for a piece of bread, it's too much fiber and will likely give you a stomach ache.
Right, you're gonna get a brick in your stomach, basically.
Right.
So the clientele of my gym skews heavily female, okay? And one of the things that frequently comes up is calcium is such a big question because women are concerned about their bones, and there are obviously other reasons we should have it. What are your recommendations when we look at a food label for calcium?
So you want to see the percent calcium. So here we have a yogurt with 10% calcium versus a yogurt that has 50% calcium. So women that are watching their weight,
big difference.
Huge difference. Women that are watching their weight, they may not be eating as much, so you want to make sure you're getting more bang for your buck.
Right.
So you choose the yogurt with the highest amount of calcium. You can only absorb 500 milligrams of calcium at one time. So if it says it's greater than 50% calcium, it's meaningless.
Or mega dosing with vitamins, and I mean it's a waste.
Right.
So the next question that I have is, I hear all the time about, I'm eating a healthy food, and, people don't even think about, well, how many calories are you actually consuming? And it's very easy to fall. It's a slippery slope, and you go, well, it's good for you. Talk to me about calories per serving.
People don't realize when you're looking at a serving, there's multiple servings in a box or even in
the
something
whole bag
like a
is
juice.
not a serving?
Right. So if you look at a serving like something for juice, this bottle contains 2 servings. So people think, oh, I'm having 130 calories. No, you're having 260 calories. It's really double that or sometimes even triple that.
Right. Yeah, and I think, the takeaway really is that the calories add up very, very quickly. So you may think, well, you know what, I'm only having, this container, and it's very important to actually look at the calories per serving. Take a second, do the math. It's not that difficult. You have been a well of knowledge for us today. I really appreciate it. I think you've certainly helped us fix some of our eating fitness flaws. Thank you very much once again. We'll be right back. All day talking about fitness flaws, how to fix the muffin top and fat in various places. And we also looked at how to fix up some of the flaws that you might have in the way that you exercise or in your nutrition. But very often there's a flaw that runs deeper, a flaw of thought, something that I like to call a thought virus that will permeate and undermine any of your attempts to change really anything. You cannot go after the superficial flaws without getting at what's underneath beforehand. Now, when someone has a thought virus, it usually takes the following format. I'll never, blank, or I'll always, blank, or I can't be. These are global beliefs that we have that will always undermine our efforts. If you think, no matter what I do, I'll always be fat, what are the chances you'll actually succeed? I'm not betting on you. So it's really important that we immediately start to capture these and understand the inner dialogue that we have with ourselves and start to vaccinate these thought viruses. And the best way to vaccinate a thought virus is to look for an area in your life where it's just not true. So when someone says to me, well, I'm lazy, I can't. Well, are you lazy in all aspects of your life? Do you get up and go to work every day? Or there may be some things that you're not so lazy at? And most people usually have that aha moment and they go, oh, you know what? I guess I'm not lazy when it comes to my kids. Or I guess I'm motivated when I do that. I mean, how many times have you maybe even said, I'm just not motivated to go to the gym? Well, maybe not in the beginning. But the real question is, where else are you motivated in your life? Where else can you draw from a model of success that you can use in order to change your life, to shape your life, and really create a different destiny for yourself? And remember, it's not all about working out. Real fitness comes from within. And the easier you make it, the more you'll win. I'm Jeff Halevy, and I'll see you next time on Workout from Within.